And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Global Citizens. My name is Calvin. I am the show's host, and I am also its creator. So, yes, just to let you guys know, we actually have a very unique environment today. So, my guest for today is actually one of the rare ones whereby is actually my own countryman. Yeah, we are actually Indonesian here, and this is
Yeah.
actually Azan Maghrib. So therefore, well, I think as fitting as it is with our where we come from, it's actually Azan Maghrib. So if you guys hear the prayers, don't worry about it. The conversation will go on properly, and we will deliver as much value as possible to the content. So yes,
Mhm.
as I mentioned, I actually invited my countryman today. Hooray! So her name is Miss
Yay.
Estelita. Yeah, her name is Estelita Gracia Siburian. So Esther is actually an Indonesian who has an interethnic and international marriage with a Mauritian Chinese, her husband, and they have lived in Taiwan since 2018. So after encountering some difference in perspective or challenge due to difference in culture, so she created Momentizing, which was established in 2019. It is an online information center and consultation website about youth, travel, and cross-cultural relationship. So without further ado, I will pass the background back to her. So for her to actually share about herself. So Esther, how are you?
Hi. Hi, Kevin and everyone. I'm good. How are you?
Well, as good as I can in the middle of pandemic. So,
Yeah.
yay!
How
All
is it
right.
there? Are you in
We just
Indonesia?
had
In Jakarta now?
yeah, we just had our second PSBB. So, which means
Oh.
like malls, pretty much everything is open, but we can't sit
Oh.
and eat. So, there's
Oh. So
nothing in
what
terms of
can you do
entertainment.
there?
Well,
Oh,
you can
just stroll
shop.
around.
You can stroll around. You can, I don't know, buy shoes. But since you don't even go out,
Okay.
you don't know what you want to buy. You can't exercise
Yeah.
as often. So I don't know what you want to do there. So yay, it's open at least. All right.
Oh, interesting. Glad to hear that. At least it start to open again, right? Start to get back to normal, the new normal.
How is the old
Now,
normal like? Okay, we will explore
anyway,
that. Okay.
anyway,
Anyway, yes. Anyway, so yeah, okay. So yeah, I'll pass the platform back to you, Esta. Maybe you can introduce a little bit more about yourself to the audience.
okay. Hi everyone. My name is Estrelita Gracia Siburian. You may call me Esta, and I work daily basis. Mostly, I work as the practitioner, psychology practitioner. I'm concerned more about in the cross cultural relationship, premarital counseling, or marriage topics or parentings regarding the intercultural relationships. And also, I'm the founder of Momentizing. It's the online consultation website and also informative center regarding like global relationships. So if you are interested in like sharing your stories or experience or ideas regarding like youth travel tips or also cross cultural relationships such as interfaith, international, interracial or interethnic marriage, then you can definitely share your stories on our platform. Thank you, Calvin.
Welcome, welcome. All right. So now this is gonna be a question that is makes you gonna reflect for a while. So where is home now to you? Is it still Indonesia, Taiwan, or is it with the people that you love more?
Oh, sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So where is home to you now? Is it still in
Oh, okay, okay.
Indonesia, Taiwan, or is it? I will make
Okay.
sure you don't get the cop out answer. You cannot say your husband or your family.
Eh? Why? I would love to say, yeah. It's not a place. It's for me, when I define about home, now I don't really want to define it as a place. I mean, like object like that, but I want to refer it to a person because yeah, I feel that in Indonesia, it's not like I since okay, actually I moved to Indonesia, moved to Taiwan since 2016, since I studied master degree here in Taichung. But then I moved back to Indonesia and lived there for 6 months to prepare the wedding. Yeah, before then I came here to join with the dependent visa with my husband. So I don't know, but when everyone asks me about the home, of course I would say, oh yeah, I'm from Indonesia. But if home, I always feel home when there is yeah my husband around because because it sounds cheesy or maybe cliche. But anyway, when you say about home, it means that I'm pretty sure that when we define home, it's like a place where we feel like it's like our sanctuary, right? When we feel the most safest one, the safest place, like a secure base place and this kind of stuff. So the idea of home itself is not like it's different than a house, not a building. It's like that. It's not a demographic place or location, but it's more into the characters of a person that you really can be just the way you are, with the way you thought, the way you think, the way you feel and act. So when you really refer me as Indonesian, especially I come from a small town called Solo. It's 1 hour flight from Jakarta. Uh, maybe people will not really think I really come from the city because the way I don't know, they say like the way I think and the way I act is not really like that local woman from Solo. But they mostly think maybe I'm from Jakarta. But no.
Don't worry, I'm from Jakarta, but I don't even
Yeah.
think like from Jakarta.
Yes,
Don't worry.
right.
Now, do you
You
know
know
why
what
I
I
don't let
think?
you get the cop out answer? I've done 60 episode plus of this. I'm not gonna get let everyone say, "Oh, it's my significant others." Now, do you know why
Yeah.
I don't let you get the cop out answer? Okay,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then. So to further elaborate on that, though, where do you feel that you are most local geographically? You already said, right? Like to be you, your home is with your family,
Yeah.
okay, which is, as I
Yeah. Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
the cop out answer. So now I'm gonna ask you location-wise. Where do you feel most comfortable in location-wise?
I think for location, I would say in terms of social engagement, I prefer in Taiwan because Taiwan, I really it's like the turning point city, not city, like a country or a place where I really can explore many things here, and also I can learn about anything here. But then, in terms of like geographical, when I need to really engage with my family, with my closest ones, or even culture in terms of foods, then of course I would say Indonesia, particularly Solo. Because if I really live, because before I worked in Jakarta for a year, but it's still different from my hometown. Jakarta is a mega city. It's totally different than my hometown. It's just a small town. So I would say it's Solo, like like if you really ask me from the place where I really feel comfortable the most.
Okay, so now we actually want to ask is how does it feel what now after you've been in Taiwan from 2016, now is 2020, so
Yeah.
5 years, yeah, 2016 itself, right? So how does it feel like though when you are back from Taiwan back to maybe if you meet your friends in Jakarta or
Oh,
even your family member in Solo, how is your experience with that? Because I myself have a
okay.
lot of difficulty dealing with when I'm used to living in Singapore and back in Jakarta.
Okay. Um, that's always be like an interesting question for me to answer because it's different, yeah, Kelvin. When people ask me about Indonesia, I always ask them also like where. the city, because Indonesia is a huge country. So like in Jakarta, the feeling may be different from Surabaya, or maybe pretty similar with Medan or Surabaya, the second and third biggest cities in Indonesia. But when you ask me about Solo, it's even not the capital city of Central Java, Java Island. So it's different. Hmm. I don't want to make anyone who listen to this podcast, I don't know how to say it, it's like offensive or something. But for me, I think it depends, yeah, Calvin. It depends on the person where do they really like connect with other people. Like I don't want to like have the stereotype like, oh, or assume people from Solo, they are all like mostly they are close-minded, or they are not really exposed to like foreign countries, like business or educations. No, a lot of my friends, they actually like travel more like than people from Jakarta. Like they live or work or studied abroad. But in certain ways, I mean, in most cases, of course, in general, it's different. Yeah. When I said about Jakarta, Jakarta is like in between. When I live in Taiwan, we are all like they are all like open-minded, like advanced country, right? They are all like travelers. The way they think is totally different. Like politically, they're all like mostly like-minded people. They always try to tolerate, respect differences, and those kind of stuff. And Jakarta is like the in the middle. For me, Jakarta is like in the middle. Yeah, sometimes it depends again. In Jakarta, it's like a lot of immigrants also, right? They go to not immigrants, yeah. Immigrants, expats, or also Indonesians who like local Indonesians who moved there and live or work there. So it really depends on how they really expose themselves towards the diversity. Because in Jakarta, you can see a lot of like ethnicities or race, but still about the tolerance and respect towards differences is still not really that significantly. How do I say that? Like you can say it nicely. It's still not like that. The racism or discriminations is still happening there. Meanwhile, when I expect this is the city where they should be really open up towards the differences, right? People with differences. But apparently in Solo, towards people, the one who have cultural backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, they are more open because actually Solo is like the include in one of the World Heritage Cities. We have almost every month we always have our cultural events. So definitely from like local Indonesians or I mean like foreigners, visitors, they always come to the city also like to experience the authentic like heritage cultural like something like that. So it's different. It's different. And but then in terms of speaking about many kind of diverse topics, or they always refer it taboo in East culture, Eastern cultures, especially Southeast Asian cultures. So Solo is a little bit, I don't want to say close-minded, but they really try to have like higher or bigger conformity with other people. So the social norms, you can definitely feel that it's quite big experience that you can feel in Solo. But then in Jakarta, they would really try to open themselves towards this kind of like sensitive topics they would like to talk about, like for example LGBTQ or what else like feminism, I would say, or about TCK. Just simply when we talk about TCK, cross cultural stuff, international marriage, of course in Jakarta, as the exposure towards diversities or foreign negotiations or business work, then it's more likely to happen than in Solo. So it's different.
Okay, just to give Esta a little bit of break, and also just for those of you who just tune in for this channel for the very first time, or will be tuning in later, yeah. So Global Citizens is an online webcast whereby I invited people who has experienced such multicultural lifestyle. So, like what Esta has mentioned earlier, one of them is primarily, of course, third culture kid. And I'm sorry, it's not that I'm being too biased, but I'm one of them. So that's why I tend
Yeah.
to want to advocate third culture kids. However, people who experience a multicultural lifestyle is, well, there's many in different category. Like for example, what Esta mentioned, expatriates, digital nomads, and even there's so many such as multiracial kids, and even there's now such as domestic TCK, and even satellite babies.
Yeah.
So yeah, the main purpose of this show is to promote intercultural studies and awareness because a lot of times when I tell people I am from Indonesia, they tell them, "Oh, I've been to Bali, I've been to Bintan, I've been to Batam," and I'm sorry, guys,
Okay.
it's not the same. I'm sorry, it's not the same. When you go to another country, you have to learn their mindset, you have to learn their perspective, and you have to learn to accept how they are. You have to learn to, in a sense, follow them, follow their behavior. Because if not, well, if you are there maybe for a holiday, yes, you are exposed to a new culture. But after maybe a few days or even weeks, you're back to your home country, everything is back to normal. Whereas if you are so used to living outside, you don't feel a sense of attachment, you don't feel a sense of root to the place. And if you
Mm.
disagree with me, well, I'm going to tell you is to go screw yourself. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And,
I agree.
yeah. And okay, let's move on, shall we? Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, from back to living in Solo, Jakarta, and even okay, and even Taiwan now.
Taiwan. Yeah.
And your husband is a Mauritian Chinese, right? If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When
Second
you see
generation.
now, oh, is he over there? Oh, hello,
Yeah, he's here.
hello. How are
Okay.
you? Ni hao.
No, you don't need to speak English, Chinese with him. You can speak
Oh,
French if you can.
uh, je m'appelle Kelvin. That's the
You
only
don't
that's
have
the
to
only
greet
French I
me.
know. That's the only French I know. That's the only
He
French I
cannot
know.
hear you. He cannot
Oh,
hear
okay.
you.
Never mind. Later he can see the video.
Yeah. Thanks for greeting
Yeah.
him though.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like let's say maybe how do you see the world differently now from when you were growing up in Solo and then you are exposed to even Jakarta itself is already a completely different experience
Yeah.
and you are in Taiwan, which is an expat ground by the way. So
Yeah.
how different is it now? Like how where what makes it very different? How you see some things now? Maybe you can talk with us about that.
Uh, okay. I think, Calvin, when we say about different perspectives, yeah, it's the one that really shifted our perspectives. I think it's not basically about where we live, but about who we are engaged with. The most frequent people that we engage with. I think that's the one that really impactful in our life. Because actually, for example, I have some friends who work in Jakarta, but the way they think, the way they feel and act already like, okay, like people who live in Taiwan or basically just like like I would say like intercultural, like multicultural citizen, like the global citizen itself. Because the way they engage, the way they work, or maybe start from the way they study in international schools. So definitely from the way maybe like since they are in preschooler, when they were preschoolers, then they studied with bilingual language. The culture, we don't necessarily to immerse in that culture right away by moving to certain location, right? But when we just educationally taught or we speak in different language, we already start to expose ourselves towards differences. So I notice a lot of people in Jakarta, or even not only in Jakarta, like come on, in Indonesia, like a lot of international schools, right? So when they expose start from they are preschoolers or golden age until they are like 6 years old, like already dealing with differences. And then again in high school, of course, then after that they want to work, at least if they want to stay in their home country, which is Indonesia, they want to still deal with or engage with foreigners, because they already have this kind of culture, this kind of habit, right? Like to be surrounded by differences. So they don't really want to just immerse or really involve themselves like together with people from one particular group, either ethnicity, race, or even nationality. So I don't really think, from the beginning, I don't really want to think that the place where we live in really shift our mindset or perspectives. It doesn't necessarily like that, but as long as you really let yourself to immerse in different kind of cultures, or even in your home country, but you really work with different people from different countries, different ethnicity or race, then you could have the same, like pretty similar mindset, of course, but it's still different. I know, I understand. Once we really live abroad, it's still different because by law, right? By law, like legally, we really need to be careful about this. We deal with more complicated process in terms of documentations. We need to be careful of what we do in this new like host country, and also not only that, but when we deal with political or economical as well, we need to really consider about that, right? Because mostly when people study, at least when they study abroad, they always notice, right? Oh, I want to learn this culture, because by economically this country is more settled, is better, or wealthy, this kind of stuff, or politically more stable, like, this kind of considerations as well. So we need to really think like, mm, be more like broaden considerations when we really want to live abroad, either for study, to work, or even to live, once you really live with your partner, for example. But then, I would say the turning point of my life that I really interested into cross cultural stuff, and I think, of course, since I was dating with my husband, and then again when I
That is
really,
the boyfriend. Right
yeah,
when the boyfriend, the now ex-boyfriend already status updated. Okay,
yeah,
carry
yeah.
on.
Then, but also I have two close friends from master degree in Taiwan back in 2016. Those two persons, they are from Hungary and Thailand, but these two girls, the one who really helped me to see the other perspectives, see the other point of view of everything. So it's really different. It's really different once I really hang out with Indonesians. I would say like that. So this is what I always like. I highly encourage people who really want to study abroad. I know you really want to still connect it with the people from your home country, but this one like, but the reason for you to study there, you can learn also casually or by non-formal ways. A lot of friends, your foreign friends, they are your open books. They are the open books that you can learn everything from them, right? It's not always the one that the way that like we learn formally at school or at the university, at college, but based on our engagement with other people from different country, different race, it's totally gonna surprise us as well, like casually, right? By the way they socialize with us.
I love what you said, and I really love it. And yes, I completely agree about that.
Mm.
We
Mm-hmm.
actually have one
What
really
about
cool
you?
question.
Mm-hmm.
Myself?
Yeah.
Well, uh, growing
Mm.
up in Indonesia, I am actually, in a sense, educational TCK. I went to an international
Yeah.
school, which
Yeah.
is well segregated between the
Mm.
international side and even the national side. And I actually know a little bit about it is because my cousin, who is also a TCK, is in the international school. So at
Mm.
that time, I'm like, my own family is there and I don't even see him. I only meet him during our own family events. So
Oh.
that's something that was already different. And at that time, my experience with intercultural issue is, I believe at that time, because my cousin, who is from my maternal side, sorry, the cousin in the same school is from my paternal side. So my cousin, who is in a local school, like not within the same area, told me that every Saturday they still have class. And I mean,
Yeah.
for the system for an international school, I think it's more common in the Western part, is that,
Mm.
well, we have holidays on Saturdays and Sunday. So I don't understand, why do you guys have
Mm.
lessons? Wait, what's going on? I don't get it. But of course, at the time was being a kid. So when I grow up in Singapore, of course, and of course I come back to Indonesia, it's a completely different mindset. Because for one thing is that in Singapore, it's an incredibly developed country. Everything is fixed,
Yeah.
proper order, and well, it was easy. Like for you to actually get something, all you have to do is follow the proper procedures. Don't try to play around. Find any other whatever method that you can think of, and you will still get the result. Whereas in Indonesia is like, I think you already, I don't need to say any further. You've experienced that before.
Oh,
Is
I know, I know. You mean the
when
public policies and facilities, right?
public policies, facilities, and the difference of intimacy is something that still bothers me even until now. Like my first ever Gojek ride, the driver within the first 5 minutes, I can remember what he says. Hi, how are you? Are you married? Where are you? Where are you from? I'm like, huh? I'm sorry, I don't know you, and you ask me this kind of question that seems too personal.
Okay,
I hope my
okay.
mother doesn't ask me
I know
this.
what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was wondering, huh? Guys, you what? You can ask me this? Yeah, and there are certain things that, of course, this is actually from a radio from when I was driving yesterday. So I heard it from the radio. Is because in, of course, the culture in Indonesia creates a sense of intimacy that is too close to people. I think this is also rooted
We
from
call
the,
it basa-basi,
yeah,
right?
that's one,
Yeah.
yeah, you can call it that. It's rooted
What is
from
it
the,
in English?
it's let me try to find that on Google
I don't know.
Translate. I don't think there's a basa. Is there a
Yeah,
term?
no. Yeah,
Is wishy-washy?
basa-basi. It's like talking
Yeah.
nonsense. No, I don't want to use.
Is it wishy-washy? Is that the term? I
No,
don't think
no.
so.
Wishy-washy is like you cannot decide what you want.
Okay. All right, right, right.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
but that's something that I was really surprised.
Eh,
And there's a lot of things that I think could be improved upon. Every, you can't see everything from the negative point of view. There are some positive,
yeah.
some negative to it. But I'm sorry to say, but if I have to choose a place to live, I will stay in Bali, which I am much more accustomed to, I guess, since in a sense it is
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
fusion of Singapore and Indonesia, and I felt really comfortable there. So yeah, like for example, a buddy of mine was actually eating at a certain restaurant. I'm not going to say the name because
Yeah.
nowadays everybody has difficulty with making ends meet. So let's not damage a restaurant's name. So
Yes.
he ordered iga bakar, which is roasted beef
Beef,
at that time.
roasted
Yeah,
beef.
beef ribs,
Uh-huh.
roasted ribs. Yeah, correct. So at that time, myself and another one of our guests at that time, our order has already arrived. It's just takes a few minutes, whereas his has not arrived for quite a while. And the thing is that he has not eaten the whole day. So a hungry man is an angry man. And the thing
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that when we checked with the waiter, he told us, "Oh, we actually ran out of stock." So this was something that what puzzles us is that if you had ran out of stock, you should have told us, right? Of
Yeah.
course, this is, well, the very unique thing is that people told me is that, oh, then you should have just left at the first place. Anyway, you shouldn't have. Why do you should have taken the
Yes.
initiative to ask them a lot earlier? I'm like, huh? Why do I have to ask them? This is their job. I already tell you this is my order. Isn't it part why you are paid to deliver the food?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I don't mean to sound rude, but I don't think
I
this
know.
has
I know.
the need for me to be openly courteous or anything. I wasn't even being rude. I was just ordering my food. That's just it. And the thing is that my friend is a
Yeah.
local, but can you imagine if that person is a Caucasian who come to Indonesia for the first time, and this is their first impression of Indonesia? So that is something that should be improved upon. And I don't need to say anything more about call center. That is another. I can lose my podcast time with that.
You remind me with something. I would like to share about this as well because
Please, please.
my husband, I try to invite him to stroll around some cities in Indonesia, such as Medan, Solo, of course, Jakarta, Bandung, Jogja, Bali, yeah, Bandung, yeah, those cities. Then when it comes to Jakarta, like he experienced like he got tricked, like he got cheated by the street food sellers
Oh,
because he cannot speak bahasa and they think that he is Indonesian who try to speak English. And at the time he just tried to buy soto. Soto is what is soto in English? Like
uh,
soup, chicken soup.
chicken stew.
Eh,
Chicken stew. Yeah, you can call it
yeah,
that.
I know. Chicken soup with rice like that, guys. You can just Google it. Then because he likes soto, by the way, then he got cheated by he need to pay like around 100,000 IDR.
What does that soto do?
Yeah,
Cure cancer?
yeah, in the street food sellers like around South
Oh,
Jakarta. Yeah, so like since then he really complained and like I don't want. Like you said, people in Jakarta they all mostly can speak English. Then I said, of course not. If you go to buy foods in the street foods area, of course you need to go inside super malls. But you get the idea, right, Calvin? What
yeah.
I want to say here is that in any other country, I don't think it's only in developed country, but if we go see like Malaysia or Thailand, they also will just say like the same price with the local, right? I don't know. I never been to Thailand before, but I think they will not like treat you like that. As yeah, even though you cannot
Well,
speak the local language.
well, you can try going to India, but for them, it's not that they cheat you the price. It's the culture for you to compete. You have to bargain for price. It's really a culture in India. I'm not kidding you.
Oh, okay. What
Yeah,
do you
but
mean? Like bargain?
okay. So, like earlier, you mentioned, like, let's say maybe we go to Malaysia or maybe to Singapore.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the price is fixed. It's written there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
pay for the price accordingly. In India, when you actually go to a market, they actually won't put a price tag. You have to bargain for something. That is actually part of the culture in India. And I am not joking
Um,
you. I actually have one of my past guests is actually migrated from India. And when I told him about this, it's like, yeah, no arguments here. It is really that hard. So,
okay.
yeah.
So whatever things you want to buy, you need to bargain.
That I'm not sure, but the thing is I did went to India before, and yes,
Uh-huh.
I do have to bargain a lot of prices at that time, and I don't
Oh,
speak Hindi and I don't speak Tamil, of course. So thank God that we have a translator there to actually help interpret us. But yeah, that was funny. That was
oh
entirely
yeah,
unique.
I know, I know. Yeah, Indonesia and India, pretty same. It's similar.
Yeah, in fact, one of my client from China actually confused ini Indonesia and into which is
Yeah,
India.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
At that
People
time,
here always.
and at that time, well, her concern was because COVID rises. So when she told me, you know that you guys have an increase of 2 million, I'm like, huh? I was looking at it and wait, this is not Indonesia. I'm fine here. So
Okay.
really,
So tricky.
yeah. I mean, a lot of it has a lot of very unique thing. I mean, for one thing is I believe some Indonesian words is actually shared with some Indian like some Indian words also like martabak.
Oh.
Some is actually
Oh,
from
really?
so this is actually quite unique part about culture is that well it's translatable but the thing is that it
Uh,
is everywhere have its own beliefs so as a
yeah.
result people uphold to their personal belief. Speaking of that, my
Yeah.
next question to you is this: why do you think there's such a communication difficulty between generation and culture?
Okay.
I don't need to tell you where this happened quite often. It's at home with your parents. Okay, sorry, I'm just clearing my throat. So carry on.
I know. But okay, I would try to say anything in general first. Okay, I think it's not only happens in terms of family functioning or educationally, like in terms of teachers to the students, but if even it happens also in business, like network, right? Because I think nowadays the word even before COVID-19 there is FUCA, or I think you know what is, right? FUCA, or okay, the abbreviation of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So
Yeah.
with this kind of multicultural or globalization, we call it like fast transition with technology or lifestyle and even the market area, that it's really shifted our way of thinking, our preferences, right? Even our taste in terms of like personal or even group taste, like in the kind of market that we want to, in the terms of products that we want to really build the market. But then with this kind of differences in terms of business, just imagine also with the intergenerational like issues that we have with our grandparents or even with our own parents nowadays, like even a lot of things happen so fast, right, in the social media, but not all of the millennials also use the social media that much. I noticed once we really become social media users, like the loyal users, then it's kind of because we work, we get something, we earn money, or we earn, I don't
You
know,
call it
like
the
projects
social
or
media
anything.
zombie. You can call it we become social media controlled or zombified. I don't know. You
Yeah,
can call
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I mean, here I
yeah,
am in front of my laptop, my screen, and even my
yeah,
phone is
yeah, yeah,
beside me. Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Me too,
sorry.
anyway. Of course, that's why, Calvin, because we work from these platforms, right? Especially nowadays when the COVID-19 hit us. But then, even before the COVID-19 came, and like it's so hard to eradicate it, but some people, like even though they are young adults or they are teenagers, they don't really use social media that much. So the thing is, it really depends, like personally. But in terms of intergeneration, like of course some people even they don't know what can we use from the social media. I mean, people always portray it's like polarized. They always think that, oh, social media, they always give negative impacts, but
Yeah,
not, it's not always like that, right? Everything must be in balance. You cannot always see everything like either extremely positive or extremely negative. It totally depends on your self control and how do you want
I
to.
was invited to speak about this once, and actually, maybe to add on to what you said,
Mhm.
social media is
Mhm.
not good nor bad. It's a device. It existed on a device, guys. It's how you control yourself. Like
I
people,
know.
and I don't know because at that time the when I was giving the talk, it's to a group of secondary school kids. They're teenagers, so of course I have to be a lot more lenient. I cannot over expect too much of them. But one of
Yeah.
the part whereby I really have to rectify them is because when they tell me this, is that, oh, in popular opinion, social media result in negativity. No, it's not. Social media is a tool. It doesn't do anything. It's the people themselves. So the best part about social media is also a double edge. It's because for
Yes.
one thing, it allows you to connect with people of other
Yeah.
ethnicity, of other nationality, and there are
Yeah.
certain. I mean, you can't always have a stick and stone whereby, oh, this is good, this is bad, because certain way of doing things in other countries could be considered much more efficient, and it is much more preferable as
Yes,
compared to
definitely.
certain countries whereby maybe being cordial, being respectful is put ahead of efficiency. So that is one of the things. But the thing is at the end of the day, it's a tool. It's up to the person themselves, and I think this has been a little bit of something that we have to worry about, especially with a certain country's presidential election. I'm not going to say which country; everybody would know, but
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a certain person keep on tweeting out some things that is considered hate. It arises the
Yeah.
sense of hate. And social media has provided that platform for people to actually express such feelings without consequences. And when they see, oh, a public figure can do that, oh, why don't I follow it? So that is something that I think add on to what you say, yeah?
Yeah. I think everything must be in moderation, right?
Correct.
We cannot always see everything either so positive or so negative. But I think I noticed, Calvin, the way that we use social media, it really also depends on the community that we are engaging with. It's totally true. I noticed this one was mentioned from The Social Dilemma. It's a documentary movie on Netflix. Maybe you and others can watch it also. It's really interesting about how the social media algorithm can really shows. Be careful, guys. Okay, don't be impulsive users. Yeah, it really depends on us, but also it depends on our community. First, of course, if they are still secondary school students, they live with their parents, right? It depends on how the parents perceive about social media itself, and then the way they teach the kids, the way they really comment about or testify about the social medias itself towards the kids. Then that's why then the kids also maybe read from some articles, or even their like peer groups don't really use it. So it really depends on the community as well. Yeah. But anyway, in terms of intergeneration of the like differences, I think it really depends on how we really communicate with our older
Correct.
generations or even younger generations. Because
Oh,
um,
oh God, that's a very sensitive topic to some people in age. Okay, never mind.
yeah, they have, because like this, I think for older generations, they also experience some hardship to adjust in the multifaceted environment. Because yeah, like I said, nowadays, once they really want to market about their products, about engaging with new people, like socially, they can just click or swipe or yeah, the buttons like that. But I think they always consider a lot of stuff because it never happens in their lifetime before, right? But it seems so easy even for us to find our lifetime partner, right? Like the modern dating app, for example. So it really depends on how we really
And I guess
communicate
is
with
that how
them.
you met your husband at that time?
No, of course not. No, no, no.
Okay,
No, I don't want to say of course not. But no,
I'm
we
just,
communicate.
I'm just
I
kidding.
would
I'm just,
like thank you.
I'm
I
just
would like
kidding.
to
I'm
say like
just,
thank you for Facebook, Line, Skype. They are really supportive for LDR couples. So that's
yeah.
really good, right? Like us, we can connect from Instagram. Just imagine like we never catch up. But anyway, I think the whole conclusion about the intergeneration issues is because they have different expectations and needs
Correct.
from each generation. That's why communicate proactively and assertively are the main key.
Okay, okay. Yep. Yeah, that's a fantastic answer. And I actually need to ask this
Good.
also. Is this the effort and mission that momentizing has actually been working towards in order to advocate such area? Because that is in your area, right? Cross cultural relationship
Yes.
and parenting consultancy. So yeah, maybe
Yeah, yeah.
you don't mind sharing with us about the mission and of course the objective of momentizing.
Okay. But basically, on momentizing, we have like quite small group of people still, um, because mostly we really focus on the global relationships. Not only for the consultation is because with me, it's still only with me. So that's why it's confused. It's focused on the cross-cultural marriage or relationships and parenting. But also, if you really want to have collaborations in terms of partnership, I mean like business partner, yeah, like business partner, partnership or youth like engagement, like youth activists or NGO activities, then you can definitely have like some kind of partnership with us because we had once before with some platforms, like regarding mental health or international relations topics, what youth can do during this pandemic. So we just had some talk show and webinar about that also. But the mission is totally we want to share like each everyone personal cross cultural experience because it's different. Okay, it's different from the blogs like blog writing. People always think that on momentizing I can just provide, for example, you travel to a country, certain places like that, then you write like where you really go, where did you go, what did you eat, blah blah blah. It's not like that, but we want you to really highlight what kind of cultural experience that you encounter, that you really immerse in that places. So it's not only just where did you go, like the places or the foods that you eat, but from that kind of maybe the way they eat in that place, in that country. Maybe you can, or maybe you talk to some locals there, or maybe you live in, I don't know, like with the locals or homestay there. So you really share what kind of experiences that you have when you really deal with the cultural there, with the local culture there. But also we want to provide some inclusive groups because I noticed, and this is maybe because of my personal experience and some other our team members' experience as well, that mostly when we talk about immigrants group or expatriate groups, third culture kids, cross culture kids, they always relate to exclusiveness, exclusivity, right? They always see, oh, it's totally different. I cannot really reach out to this kind of community because they always travel abroad, for example. Just for example, as simple as that. But actually, they don't really know that we always, mostly we feel rootlessness, restlessness, right? They always see the good things like, oh yeah, you always travel here and there. Yeah, but you never know what's happening deep inside their mind, right?
I
What
agree.
kind of like personal thoughts that they have. Yeah, like the challenge that they have. It's not always really significantly impactful to their life. Between the strengths, I mean, not the strengths, like the benefits that you have as cross cultural or third culture kids itself. So we really
Yep.
want to have this kind of platforms where everyone can connect, especially because of this pandemic as well. I noticed there are a lot of people immersed. Yeah. Like I noticed like, oh, there is you, like you are exist in this platform. Like I don't know, maybe because before they work offline, right, mostly, but then now they work like online. So that's why we can connect together, then we can share one each other about the personal experience.
Yep. I highlighted that in the beginning when we started
Mm.
when we already started this show, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is true. It's because a lot of people tend to not understand. Like I said, intercultural lifestyle is not an extended vacation. It is
Mm-mm.
you being a somebody who needs to come to another country, and then everything that you know is turned 360 degrees. Or if you are somebody who is there doing this lifestyle as a child, you don't even know which one is which. It's because how you see things, how you act, how you eat, how you talk are formed by multiple countries. So as a result, they don't know which one is which. How do I apply which one? And to people is that they thought, oh, it looks nice, but it's not. It comes with its own challenge. And yeah, I'm happy that there's such platform that such as yours to actually advise on this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay, that is okay. Don't worry, guys. It's not that I don't know what to say, but the problem is that a lot of my point has been jumped by Esta. So, don't worry. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. So I actually have two final questions for you. Okay. So,
Ooh.
if you have a
Oh, it's
chance,
like beauty
sorry,
pageant competition. Final answer. Final questions.
sorry.
Okay. No. I just say like it's like a beauty pageant competition. There will be like final questions. Okay.
Nah.
Bring it up. Bring it on.
All right. So I'm giving you a chance now to create a character or even a society that to address social issues on the
Hmm.
reality of an intercultural lifestyle. How would you implement it?
Say it again. Wait.
Oh yeah, sure. So let's say you are now a television producer. You can create a
Oh,
character or a TV show to create the reality of an intercultural lifestyle. So what would you create?
I think I don't know. It may sound boring for some people, but I'm not sure about you. I would like to create like documentary movies, like documentary series.
Oh, they're already doing that, right? Yeah, HBO is already doing a series on that.
Oh, really? No, I don't know. I don't watch HBO. I watch Netflix. But
Oh
anyway,
wow,
no, no,
she's
no, no.
she's up to date, guys. We don't
But
actually.
yeah, anyway.
Okay, sorry.
So I
Yeah,
think
go ahead.
wait. So, but I think the title it will be The Beauty of Life. Living or living, living like you're living or coming, yeah, or living. Because when I really want to invite PCK's lifestyle, I I'm really interested in knowing the way, like not only missionary kids, but also maybe military brats or business. I don't know how do you say that, like business kids, the business
Business
children,
brats. Yeah,
business
some of
brats,
them call
yeah,
it business brats.
just brats,
The other
okay?
one is
Military
also
brats, missionary brats, yeah, just brats.
yeah, all the brats, all the brats. So that
Yeah, all the brats.
I didn't
Yeah,
make up
so
the
this,
term. Guys. I didn't make up the term. It's your personal lingos.
yeah. It's from root usim, right? The terms, yeah,
Uh,
military brats. Yeah, it's from
yeah,
her.
Ruth Isim is considered the mother of
The-
TCK. She
Yeah,
coined the
yeah, yeah. So she is the one who say that, not me. Okay. So anyway, like any kind of CCK, but also CCK, maybe because sometimes when they are CCK, they also experience this kind of high mobility. I would say, okay, I think since from the beginning, we need to really mention about this, Calvin. We forgot to mention about this. The difference between cross-cultural kids and third-culture kids is the life mobility that they have, guys. Okay, so you cannot always say, "I am third-culture kids," but you only live, like for example, oh, like for me, I would not say I am third-culture kids. Of course not. because I just live in Indonesia and then yeah, here I am in Taiwan. I didn't do repatriation. I didn't go back and forth to live in Indonesia, right? I just yeah visit Indonesia, not live there. So it's different. But if you mention about third culture kids, traditionally it's kids, all of those kids, the one who really grow up and spend their significant developmental years, like out of until 19 years old, 18 to 19 years old, outside of their parents' passport culture. But that's traditionally, right? Yeah, like Calvin, traditionally. But now, in modernization and also because of the globalization, there will be the terms for CCK for kids. The parents they migrate in some countries or maybe even one country only, but they live back and forth. There's this word, just the keyword is high mobility and back and forth. So their lifestyle, yeah, the way they live their lives is always like live somewhere back and forth. They don't just visit. It's different from cross cultural kids. For us, like cross cultural kids, yeah, if you are like bi or multiracial kids, you are educationally international kids because you go to international school. For example, like Calvin, or yeah, I experienced that one also. No, yeah, like this kind of English thought program in high school. So anyway, yeah, so it's either educationally or maybe if you even live as adopted child, that's also considered as cross-cultural kids, or you live in between the country borders because you don't know where you belong. Then you consider as cross-cultural kid. So the terminologies is quite confusing, but Calvin, maybe you can add on this the
Yeah.
umbrella between PCK and CCK. Maybe you experience more about this as well.
Okay, for myself, okay, I actually only live with back and forth in two countries, Indonesia and Singapore.
Mm,
But the thing is, in Singapore itself is a melting pot of at least four races. So, sorry, a melting pot of four races: Chinese, Malays, Indians, and the Caucasians. So that actually form a unique culture of its own. But for my case, I consider myself a third culture kid because I created a second
hello,
definition. Oh, sorry. Can you hear
Calvin.
me? Yeah, can you hear me?
No, 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 no. It got cut for a
Oh,
while.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I actually have another two definition of third culture kids. So first one is
Okay.
I see the world from a third person point of view. Because the thing is that one of the effect of living in this multicultural lifestyle is something that in my show we call it the global vision. So this is where because
Mm,
we don't see things in a nationalist point of view, we see the world in a global. Because certain issues
mm,
from maybe in some place that we live, okay, in a sense I'm lucky enough I only have to worry about two places, which is Indonesia and Singapore. But there are certain people, the record on my show is 12 countries. So can you imagine like one of the
wow.
country that the person live could be in war with another one that she has lived with. So it's like watching her two
Wow.
hometown fighting each other. So that is that is something that
I see.
she became concerned of. However, for
Mm,
people who have only experienced living in one area, they will not. Okay, so they're fighting. What is it? Share. It's like when you live in another part or in the other part of the world, a piece of
yeah.
your heart is left there. A piece of yourself is there. So it's like watching such news. It's something that hurts you. It's because it hurts you physically and mentally. But to people who have
Yeah.
never experienced this lifestyle, they are like, okay, they're fighting. It doesn't affect me, so yay, carry on with my life. That's one. My second meaning is that because I have never felt a sense of belonging in both my homes. I mean, I love both my birth country and the country that I grew up in. But the thing is that let's face it, I grew up in Singapore for almost 20 years. I live in Indonesia now. I left it when I was 11. So I've never developed a certain sense of root, a very deep root in my own home country. And in my second home, I'm not a local citizen. I'm an adopted son. So as a result, the third culture kit to me is finding a third place whereby I can actually feel that I belong. So that's my meaning for TCK for one. But of course, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
in its original definition, TCK is based on a lot of them is heavy mobility, and for myself, I actually make myself experience the what a original TCK would feel. So I mean, as Ruth Hussein said, well, as with her anthropology background, but circumstances change, and well, I think this is something that would be evolving and it will be growing over time, and it's something that would be interesting to find out more about it. Yeah, did I answer your question, Esther?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Now it's actually going to be your final question, and this is actually based on what I
Oh,
said. Yeah. All right.
it
How
got
do you
cut.
feel?
I don't know your connection. Sometimes
Oh,
when you say, then it got cut, like startled, like that. I cannot
I'm
hear
living in
clearly.
Indonesia. Do I have to say anything about the internet?
Hey, yeah, it happens. Yeah. But it happens in Taiwan as well sometimes when there is
Aha.
typhoon.
Okay. I would
Okay,
need to
anyway.
verify with that. Several of my past guests and some of my closest ones is actually used to live in Taiwan, so I really like to know about that one.
Yeah, sometimes it has bad internet connection as well. Okay.
Okay. Oh yeah. Sorry. So your final question is going to be this: do you agree that these global citizens, whether it's a third culture or even the new form, it's now a part of the umbrella of cross-culture kids. Do you agree that this is actually the template of how humans will be in the future? Because now we are living in an era whereby we can't even go out. We have to rely on technology to meet people. So in the past, I mean, certain things, if you meet face to face, maybe there's a way to resolve it. But now we have to rely on technology to meet people from another side of the world, like what we are doing now. Do you agree
Mm.
that this multicultural knowledge is the template for how humans would behave in a sense in the future?
I would say not really, not that much because it depends. It depends on each everyone perceive it. So it depends on their preferences. I would not say it's a guideline or a template because many people, even though they are young people like millennials in Taiwan, they are not social media users, or they might, yeah, they might, but they use it as work. Like they use the social media to work, not really to really explore on some things, or like, like as an entertainment or a source of um, seeking for excitement or something pleasure, like pleasant for them. So it really depends on it's everyone. But in terms of multicultural awareness that you asked before, I think it really depends as well, Calvin, because again, social media, they have the algorithm, right? They are so smart. They think that, oh, they show everything that we want to see, but no, we click on something. That's why they keep on appearing towards, like they keep on showing the similar things, pretty similar things towards what we like and what we disagree, like that. So in terms of that, a lot of things start from social media. People are not still really open up themselves towards the like differences towards the tolerance,
Yep.
respect. There are a lot of people now, like because social media is like an access to really just say everything, do everything there, and you can be just recorded. So I would not say that it's really, yeah, it could be a template, yes, but not all people prefer to really engage virtually as well. Even though they just, yeah, they use it, but they only use it for literally to keep in touch and connect with the people that they are closest to, not the one that really want to reach out. For example, I think it still relates to the intergeneration issues, the one that you asked before, right? Because not
Yep.
all people, and personality, Calvin. In psychology, we always talk about personality as well. Not everyone would really like to expose or explore themselves on the social media, or even just to read news. They just really read for a few minutes, then just close it. They will not really search on some informations, or really to in terms of get connect with other people, especially strangers that they don't know at all. So it depends. I think because we are considered as millennials, and we work through this social media, and we certainly get the positive impacts to build up our networking. So of course, then it's kind of like our template. It's like our big, huge platforms for us.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Very fair enough. Okay. So that is actually all the questions that I have. So just to let you guys know, so in my Instagram now, we will actually be posting my videos, so you guys can watch the whole thing there too. So without anything else, I just need to do a little shout out. So first off is Jen. How are you? So Jen Mohindra is actually a TCK consultant. Yeah, she's a TCK coach. So she also hosts her own podcast called People Like Us. So one of
Okay.
my own staff, Bambang. Along with that, we actually have two of my past guests who are also close friends of mine now. So Ben, thanks so much for tuning in, buddy. And I am Pablo. Hope everything is well there.
I cannot
This
see all of them. I cannot
oh
see any of them.
yeah, this
I think it's
is some,
because, yeah.
you can see them a little bit later.
Okay.
The likes will
Hi
appear.
everyone. I cannot see your name. It's okay.
So
Thank you for tuning in.
and along with that, I also want to thank all those who actually do tune in. Even if you guys don't leave anything, it's fine. I can see you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I also need to thank Esta for making the time to actually
Thank you,
come here.
Calvin.
Yep, very welcome. And yeah, you don't know how happy I am. I actually have an Indonesian who actually experienced what I went through. So in a sense,
Oh, so
in a
there is no
sense.
Indonesian who really
Oh no,
like.
there are, but the thing is that well,
Like
several Indonesian,
practitioner, you mean, right?
yeah, like it's a different
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
yes. So, well,
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much
I
people focus
understand.
on entrepreneurship, so
Yeah,
it's
of course. When you talk about interculture,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it's always good to have somebody who like yourself, and I recall you actually met her. She's actually in Taiwan now, Miss Christine Chen, who was actually a past guest of mine also. Yeah, it's always good to have somebody who actually does study all of these kinds of issues. It's because
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the emotional aspect of it is sometimes neglected, I guess, and as a result, people just tend to focus it as a business. And well, I think this is something that people need to be much more aware of in today's society. So
yeah.
with that, there's actually some referral links for you guys if you guys are interested for Airbnb and the software that I'm using, which is StreamYard. So if you guys are interested to explore podcasting or something else along that line, please check it out. And there's also a credit for you guys for Canva if you guys want to create digital graphics. So along and And with that, we end episode 69 of Global Citizens. I actually
Thank
would
you,
love to say the full
Kelvin.
title, but Esta's title is so long. So I will just show it there. Yeah,
Yeah, we will try
I'm
to make
sorry,
it short
it's too
later
long.
next time. It's fine. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And with that, have a good day, everybody, or good night. Take good care of yourself,
Have a
and
good day.
yeah, and please stay safe. Wear your mask, wash your hands, all the precautions that's needed. Because as the world has shown some improvement, but we don't know how long this will last. So with that, take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.